Hey, just coming back. I went up to Oakland here. I had a cup of coffee, bought some stuff, and it was the Lake Shore was packed. There was a lot of people on that bloody street. And I mean, I stopped there by Arizmendi Bakery, got me something, and I mean, I sit down, have a cup of coffee outside or whatever, and like it's just, I mean, there was every type of people. Where I sat down inside, right inside the door actually, and like there were a gay couple that was sat there. She had, I think, purple hair, one of them, a lot of tattoos. We got to chatting just briefly, very friendly, and then I went over to Trader Joe's because there's something I had to get across the street. Got chatting with a Latino. I was in line, it was packed in there. I guess it's Thanksgiving. Made some crack because the woman was a Latina, you know, and she turned out to be Mexicana. So, you know, I told her about my nickname, and her husband came over. He was El Salvadorian, and we got to chatting, and we had a great conversation with them, practicing my Spanish and all of that, and making laughs, you know. He said, boy, I'd love to have a couple of beers with you sometime. And, you know, I said, well, yeah, you know, I like that too. And I really, he was El Salvadorian, but I really like a lot of those people from south of the border, you know, and Mexicans in particular, I've had lots of good times with. And I just thought to myself, you know, I looked up, there's Ethiopians there's other Africans there. You can tell Ethiopians, and nobody looks, well, the Horn of Africa, let's put it that way, because Ethiopians, Djibouti, northern Somalia, Eritreans, there, certain parts of Sudan, nobody looks like them, but there was other Africans there, and it was just a lively, friendly, wonderful experience. And I thought to myself, with me, I love that, you know. I always told people when I went to Baghdad when I was 21 and went on down to Basra, and, you know, I couldn't speak Arabic. Put me in a bloody room with 100 different people and languages, and I'll figure out, I'll be all over the place, learning, listening, practicing, having a laugh. I mean, there's no need to fear anybody different to us, no matter what way. The only people that profit from that is the class that oppresses, is the ruling class and its institutions. And that's why this whole, back in England, it's the same. It's rising again, its ugly head. And imagine what it's like for any colonial persons, Pakistanis, Indians or Africans that are in England being told they don't belong there. The British capitalists colonized 23% of the world's population. They went everywhere. They didn't adapt to their language, their culture, their dress. In India, it's by some estimates, trillions of dollars of value were extracted. For 100 years, British colonialism plundered India. That's why you see all those wonderful buildings in London. Now, I'm not saying you take down those buildings, but this is in somebody else's consciousness, this history. And they must think of themselves, if they're Pakistani or Indian. I used to work in factories with Pakistanis and Indians. They must think, what are these guys talking about? Go home. You know, the difference is this. My uncle was all over the world. My father was. I was born in Burma, grew up in Africa as a kid. But there's a difference. That's why class is so crucial. There's a difference between, like in a war, there's a difference between the workers that are sent there as cannon fodder to kill or be killed, and the people that send them. So when I was reading an article by some black academic the other day, and she's talking about white people and Europeans, and as if there's no difference between any sectors of that society. They're just all white people, and whiteness is the problem. It's so backward, and it just doesn't explain anything. One petty bourgeois person of color went, "Oh, you're hurt?" No, I'm not hurt. I don't give a shit. But the question is, there's no class analysis. It doesn't explain anything. And why racism arises. That's why DEI, they'll never teach racism correctly in this country, because they always have to use it. They always have to keep tensions there, sometimes on the back burner, other times more openly. They have to do that. The color question has been the primary mover and means of weakening the working class here. But it's lovely. I just had a lovely experience. I got trapped a little bit with Enoch Powell back then. I didn't get active, but it made some sense, more along nationalist lines, I think, to me. Not exclusively, but predominantly. But it didn't take long to get snapped out of that. Anyway, yeah, it's lovely, lovely multiculturalism. is a beautiful thing. And people, when I went all through Iraq, when I went through southern France, when I travelled, people were kind to me, no matter who the hell they were. Just ranting.